Peace, everybody. Welcome to Capital Combat. The name says it all. I'm Hakeem Branch.
Rob Durrell.
And today we're going to recap Mayhem, which was Floyd Mayweather versus Mayweather-Maidana Part 2. And if you watched our preview video, we said that the undercard really wasn't looking that great on paper. Turned out to be really not that great in the ring either. But we'll touch on those things, and then we'll get into the main event. Go ahead, Rob.
All right, so the first fight of the night, well, just a small blurb, Humberto Soto and John Molina had probably the best fight of the night, because of course.
And we did say that on the preview video.
Yeah,
that was probably going to be the fight of the night.
And that was on free television, so we hope you caught that. Humberto Soto had enough left in the tank to take out Molina, so we'll see what he does at 140.
Yeah.
Now moving on, the first official fight of the card was Mickey Bay versus
Angulo and De La Rosa.
Was Angulo and De La Rosa, and I'm just gonna say this: Angulo's done. Yeah. De La Rosa came out, he put hands on Angulo. Angulo just looked like a shot fighter. He barely could throw any punches, and what he did throw just looked like it had no kind of anything on him.
The body shots had a little bit on it. That was the only thing really. And the bad thing about it was De La Rosa's gas tank was so bad that come like rounds 7 through 10, it looked like Angulo had a chance. And you could even hear his trainer saying, hey, you lose this, you're done. And he went out there and he tried, and there was a few times where it looked like he could have got De La Rosa out of there, but he just didn't have it. And so hopefully everyone sits him down and be like, look, you can't be taking this punishment to just come in and win in the 12th round, because that is a whole lot of damage you're taking to get these wins. So let's hope that that happens.
Especially through the wars that Angulo has been through, he can't take that much damage, and he's still relatively young. He's about 30,
maybe he's like in his early 30s.
Yeah, it is not worth taking that much damage unless he just takes some time off and let his body heal and adjust, because right now he's fought fairly frequently, except for when he was detained, but all his fights have been just wars.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, let's hope that someone talks him into giving it up. The second fight on the card was Miguel Vasquez versus Mickey Bay, and we said that would probably be the worst fight on the card. Unfortunately, we were right. That fight was not only very hard to score, and it was very hard to score because it was very hard to watch. The only thing I'll say about this card is one person had their scorecards filled out before the fight started.
Big time.
And that was whoever gave the fight to Bay 11 rounds to 1. I mean, I know it was a hard fight to watch, and I know it was pretty bad, but it was not that much of a runaway in no shape or form. In no way would I want to see a rematch.
At all.
But even though Vasquez is the most TV-friendly fighter, he didn't deserve that. Whether you think he won or not, that's still debatable, because like I said, it was hard to score, hard to watch, but you don't do a guy like that. So next up was Santa Cruz versus Manuel Roman. Our question was, how long would he stand up? Answer, not long. Not long at all. Shout out to Santa Cruz for calling out Rigondeaux, but until the bell rings for round 1 with those two in the ring, I believe it when I see it. You got anything you want to add before we go to the main event? No. All right. Let's get into the main event. We had Floyd Mayweather, Mayweather-Maidana, Part 2. When we last left these two guys, Floyd had won a majority decision in a fight that was actually kind of debatable, depending on how you judge a fight. Now, I know if you watched us before, we tell you that judging is completely subjective. It's not an objective thing. So a lot of people had Mayweather-Maidana doing very well in the fight, and a lot of people had Floyd winning upwards of 8 to 9 rounds. I was one of those people. I thought that while Mayweather-Maidana did some great work, he didn't put enough rounds in the bank, and that's how Floyd won. Floyd said he fought in a toe-to-toe battle, because he wanted to impress the fans and he wanted to give him a good fight. And if he wanted to, he could have boxed his ears off. So in this fight, he was going to do that. A lot of us said, yeah, right, Floyd, you're getting kind of old. Marcos is a tough opponent. You can't really do that. He did. He used his movement, cut Maidana's work rate almost over half. And outside of the end of round 3 where we got caught with a shot and was buckled, it really wasn't that. Oh, and round 8 glove bite gate really wasn't that eventful of a fight.
No, everyone said his legs was going. He came out like he wanted to prove to people that his legs were not gone. So you saw a lot more movement in this fight from Mayweather. A lot less standing on the ropes. As soon as he got on the ropes, you see he pivoted away, kind of tied him up, and just nullified that work rate. The good thing about this, and I know Maidana said he wasn't hurt. I'm not going to say he was hurt by punches to the face, but if you saw how Mayweather used his movement going side to side, and also those shots to the body, which I think hurt a lot worse than people, like Maidana was letting on and people said, those hurt. And there was a couple of times that I think he was hurt by those because he literally stopped. And I'm not talking about stop and reset, stop. I'm talking about stop, ouch, wait a minute, okay, now let's go. Yeah. Because I'm not saying his legs buckled, but there was a couple of times he just kind of like, yeah. But in this fight, what was the other thing? Kenny Bayless, a lot of people felt that he was way too involved, and I felt he was. But Mayweather was clinching and not technically holding. Yeah. What he would do, Mayweather, when Maidana got close, especially when we told you watch out for that left to the body coming right over the top, which did land a few times for Maidana, Mayweather would tie up both arms kind of like in an underhook. Now, at that point,
MMA moves.
That is to kind of restrict Maidana's arms, because in the first fight when he tied him up, his hands were always moving. Yeah. So this time Mayweather tied him up to keep him from moving. Kenny Bayless kind of jumped in a few times. People felt it was early, but if you saw how Mayweather was tying his arms up,
there was no action to be had.
Right. And I believe Mayweather has done that before in the Victor Ortiz fight. Didn't he have both arms tied up? And that's when
he does it often.
But that's when the Ortiz headbutt came in. If I'm not mistaken, he had him tied up and he was trying to work, and then the headbutt came up. So that's something that you definitely want to avoid. Of course, Maidana probably has no problem doing that.
Yeah. This time he used his mouth to foul, allegedly. If you look at the replay, it's still kind of iffy. Yeah. But honestly, I don't think Floyd looked that great. I know he won. He won very convincingly, but he didn't look too, like, he looked a little hesitant in this fight. There was something going on where it's something that Maidana does that he doesn't like too much. You saw in that first fight, he did a lot, like, he let Maidana work on the inside. He worked on the inside too, and then he clinched every now and then. This time, he just clinched every single time. Like, there was almost absolutely no inside fighting whatsoever. He just didn't look comfortable in there like he did in May. In May, it was like, yeah, you know, let me figure this guy out, blah, blah, blah. Like, he just had this look of complete calm no matter what was going on. He looked a little troubled in his face this time. Like, his demeanor showed a little bit of trepidation where it was just something that he didn't like, something that was going on in there that he didn't like. Maybe he'll touch on it in an interview later on. But he said himself afterward, he gave himself a C for the performance. I think he let Maidana off the hook a couple times. Rob told him about those body shots that were clearly affecting Maidana. There was the point deduction in the 8th where he was bitten, and like we said, I wasn't there, so I don't know if he was bitten, and if he was, how hard it was, because at that point he was really digging into Maidana, and he looked like he was looking for a way out, and Floyd gave it to him by reacting the way he did from the bite. Right. Also, the point deduction for when he push Floyd down. Also came after some very good body shots and a clinch. He goes down, oversells it, and they take the points off, lets him off the hook again. Then in the 12th round, he just goes into the old take the knee offense in football. Like, there was time left, they could have maybe punched in one more point, one more touchdown, or a field goal at least. But he just kept taking the knee, head on out to the locker room. When somebody's really in control of a fight, they'll probably try and close the show. He didn't feel like there was something going on that he didn't feel like he wanted to close the show. So we'll see what happens from here. They brought up the other guy, who is Manny Pacquiao. Don't even waste your time on that. Neither are we. Until
they're signed, a fight ain't happening.
Now, like I said for Santa Cruz and Rigondeaux, until the bell rings for round 1 and they are both in the ring together, is when I believe it's going down.
Now, I will say this on Maidana's part. I think he and his coach, Robert Garcia, did a kind of a disservice because Maidana was more tentative in the first few rounds instead of just going at Mayweather like he did in the Broner fight and in the first fight.
Yeah,
but that could have been to conserve his energy to get to the later rounds, because they didn't have Alex Ariza this time around either.
Their camp, I'm not sure exactly what went on in the camp, but one of the things I was talking about was his gas tank was never going to match Mayweather's anyway. So it was probably better for them to just go balls to the wall and tire out, because he could have maybe gotten a knockout. The plan that they had looked like it had no chance of working from the start, and they had no adjustment for the movement. They already knew that he was going to be moving. There was no attempts to cut off the ring at any point of the fight. Which he did pretty well the first time, but then again, Mayweather didn't move as pronounced as he did in the rematch. But still, they knew he was going to do that. Everybody knew the game plan going into the second fight, except for them.
So, I mean, that's neither here nor there. We'll see where Mayweather goes from here. There's kind of a lack of opponents. They're going to have to create one for May. There's always talk of Khan, of maybe Brooke, who knows. I just hope that the next fight that Mayweather does, he has a much better undercard, because this was terrible.
Yeah, and they usually do put on good undercards, but this one was abysmal. And I don't know. That's all I got for that, man. You got anything else?
I will say this: if you go on YouTube or go on our Facebook page, you'll see the Orlando Salido Tersai Kokichem.
Yeah, Kokichem.
Kokichem fight. 7 knockdowns, ended in a KO in the 11th round. That is a Fight of the Year candidate, because they went at it.
Yes. If you haven't liked our Facebook page, like it, check the page, watch the fight, enjoy it. Those of you guys who have liked the page, go to it and watch it, because it is awesome. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys liked it. Give it the good old thumbs up. Comment if you have anything you want to say, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.
This is round 1 and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and cost. My fists are on fire, I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage, keep thinking that it's a game. I kick crime, hurricane, I told them I don't play, I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.